So here's something I thought I'd never say. I'm in my E30 on the road. Let's take you for a drive. I've had this car MOT now for just over a week. I've been out in it 3 or 4 times, and I would just like to go through my first impressions, really, how I feel about it and how like unexpected it's been to have a car done and on the road. This is my first ever project. It's been just over 9 years now, and I didn't really expect to be at this position ever, really. It just something didn't never cross my mind. However, we are, and the car is on the road and I am able to drive it, which is crazy. So the last few months have been pretty hectic. The August Roll Hard show was kind of the big turning point where I could see the car in all its glory. To me now, looking back, it was basically a bare shell, but on pictures and everything, it looked like a finished car, which it wasn't. It was just a rolling shell. Nothing started. There was loads of things missing. The engine and everything was in place. All the exterior was in place. So to me, it felt like I kind of hit a certain point in the project there where I'm like, I can see the finish line. But since then, there's been so much to do. Like to get the engine running from when I rebuilt it was a massive palaver. It took everything for me to get that done because I hit so many issues. Every single step, there was something in my way. Probably my own fault, but it's what comes with building your own stuff in a garage on a council estate. But let's get started. So what I've just done is put the interior in as, well, not the interior, but I put the door cards in, I put a few bits on the dash, I put the rear stuff in, because when I first went out in it, it was so loud and tinny. I just felt like I was in a bloody bean can. So now that these are in, it's improved it, but it's still loud. But you've got to remember, it's a massive engine in a little car. So you get what you get. At the moment, it's on a base map, the engine is, so I'm still bedding that in. I haven't got any much revs. I can't go full throttle. So for now, we're being nice and careful. But for me, that's enough. It is aggressive. It is a mega car. I did not expect it to be so fast off the bat. Didn't expect it to be so stiff and loud, but obviously thinking about what I've just done to the whole car, it kind of makes sense. You've got polybush everything, even the engine, the gearboxes, all the suspensions, polybush. You've got coilovers, you've got upgraded anti-roll bars, strengthening, just anything you can think of to make the car aggressive, it's got. But yeah, let's go for it. So now, I don't know how this is going to sound, as to me, it's quite loud. So I'm just going to check. Go for a little 5-minute loop, see how it feels. So we're back on the open road. We'll go for a first little pull. Nothing crazy, like I said, still bedding the engine in. That's up to 60. The revs are about 2,500 here. It's very windy inside. The sunroof's not in place fully. It's not insulated anyway. There's definitely some improvements to be made in the car, because at the moment it's not enjoyable at speed, but it's definitely loud. But with the interior in, it's definitely quieting down a lot, which is very nice. It's got a little tunnel here, see if it makes anything nice. Obviously, taking this car out on the road is a pretty scary prospect. There's a lot of things that could happen, but also one big thing is an accident, whether that's yourself or someone else. You know what people are like on the roads. You want to make sure you get it insured correctly, but obviously with a modified car, it can be quite hard, or at least it seems to be. People think it's quite hard to do. It's going to be really expensive. Insurance aren't going to be too happy about it, but that's where Custodian come into play. So they recently reached out to me and wanted to work together, which I think is just the perfect opportunity to go through how insurance can be done. And that there is companies out there that understand car people, they understand modifications, they understand rarity, they understand, even if it's not rare, but it's interesting, they can cover you. When it's modified, you should be declaring this kind of stuff, because you never know what could happen. But with Custodian, that's what they do, that's what they specialise in, they're happy to help. So how does Custodian work? It's not like a normal insurance where you just declare your mods roughly. You kind of say, oh, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this. You actually document your whole car. You can put as many pictures as you want on, go on your little profile, you can add all the information to it, so there's nothing to hide. So I'm very happy to be working with Custodian. Make sure you check them out in the link below. I don't know how well you can see, but the cluster is not kind of tuned in right. So at the moment it's saying 3,500, but it's actually about just over 2,000. So at the moment it's got a 4,000 RPM limit, and obviously, like I said, barely, not full throttle at the moment, just to keep everything happy. But with bedding an engine in, you don't want to be idling it too much. You don't want to be under too much load, you don't want to be under too little load, is what I've been told. But we're coming up to 100 miles now, so I feel like I'm kind of getting out of that phase finally. But honestly, this feels surreal, just being out in my car and driving. I've spent so many days, evenings, planning what I want to do the next day, on the day, getting up super early, setting my list, going through everything and making sure I get as much done every single day as possible. Now, my old kind of ethos was to make sure that it stays a hobby, make sure I don't spend too much time on it, and make sure everything that I do is enjoyable. But I feel like recently that's kind of gone out the window, as I just needed to get it finished. There is a reason for why I've rushed to get it finished and why I'm driving it in the winter, but we're gonna have to go into that another day. The torque from this engine is just insane. Obviously, like I said, I'm only keeping the revs low at the moment, but you can just feel it. It feels like, I've never driven a fast car before, so this is the fastest car I've ever owned, by quite the mile. Obviously, we don't know what the numbers are. It's probably not even 200 horsepower at the moment, but God, that is enough for me. I've got a lot to learn, so that's why I'm being careful, because I don't know how to drive fast. I'm going to admit it. You don't be stupid, think you're a driver if you're not, because you're probably not. Why ruin a lovely car just to show off to people? I don't understand it. The feeling wise, the steering is very quick and quite sensitive. I feel like I haven't got the adjustment right, so I will get that sorted. I think I need a bit of toe in or toe out, I can't remember off the top of my head. So, I've never done this kind of video before, so I don't really know what to do other than talk about the car. But at the moment, I am quite concerned with just making sure everything's running properly. So I'm keeping my eyes on all my little gauges. These are super handy. I've got my little Alpina reproduction gauge, it's got diff temp, it's got engine oil temp, it's got vacuum if that's needed, it's got engine oil pressure, we've got coolant temp, and then we've got voltage as well. Just in case. It's nice to look. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done without those for the first drive, because they're so handy just to look at, just to make sure everything's staying in check. Obviously, with this car being so long off the road, I've had this car since I was 17. I drove for about 3 years as a 316i. It was ruined. It was £800 at the time. It was my first car practically, and I didn't have any money, and I just kind of drove it until it broke. I fixed it and then carried on. I've never had any mechanical experience beforehand. I kind of just learned as I went. I remember doing brake pad changes, I remember doing suspension changes. I did obviously a service on the car. That was all I did before it went off the road. So as soon as it went off the road, I had quite a task on my hand, because it was, where do you start? I feel like it's so easy to learn nowadays with the internet, pretty much. I started on all the forums. You've got E30 Zone, which was a massive one for me. There was just everything you'd ever needed on there. And then obviously onto YouTube, it has all the videos of how to do things, so it makes everything a little bit easier by just watching everything. And from there, I kind of just progressed into, obviously it just started with, I cracked my sump, so I was like, right, I'll get a new sump. I realised that the sump above was cracked, and that was an engine out job, and I didn't really fancy that, because if I'm going to take the engine out, I may as well put something else in. So I bought an M30 B35 for it, and I started to strip that down and get that ready to go in the car. But then I was like, well, the engine bay is very nice, so I may as well get the engine bay nice. And then when I lifted up the car, I realised the underside wasn't very nice, so I thought I may as well do the underside. And then off it went. I just couldn't stop. It was just so much one of those kind of, whilst you're there, you may as well. And it just progressed all the way into this now. Obviously, with this car being this position, it's not done, nowhere near being done. The interior I'm not happy with. There's obviously upgrades and improvements I want to make to the car anyway. So the engine noise is great, the exhaust noise is great, but it is loud, but it's great. I love the tone of it. I think it really shows the size of the engine, because it's such a deep tone. I do love an S54 and I love the noise they make, but they are very raspy, which I think is sometimes good, but in a touring, I don't think it would have suited it. You need that low end torque, I feel. You don't want the high, super high revs and out of a tinny engine. So I think this is really suited to this car. Obviously, handling wise, you know this engine's big, it's heavy. I've done a lot of work to remove weight from the engine bay as much as I can. There's a lot of ancillaries that are now removed on the engine. Obviously got the carbon airbox, we've got a lot of things that are relocated. So the battery's gone, the washer fluid's gone, the ABS is gone. A few other things in the engine bay, most of them are moved to the rear of the car. I'll have to go through the whole car in another video. The engine sits pretty happy at like 80 degrees when I was driving, currently at 77. Engine temp, oil temp is about 78, about the same. Diff temp, if you need to know, is 52. Whether that's important or not, I don't know yet. Voltage is good, which is good. When I first replaced it, well, my first drive, it was dropping quite a bit, but the voltmeter doesn't go off the battery, so it's connected into the dash, and I wonder if there's a few things drawing a charge from it. Because when you turn the car on, it says about 12.2 volts, but if you check the battery, it's 12.8. As you probably saw in one of those clips, the wiring is still hanging low. Now I'm going to say that's due to maintenance, easy access. No, I've just not finished it off yet. I've got a bit too excited and started driving the car. Will I get it sorted? Obviously, eventually. I'm sure I will. I don't want to be having the wiring kind of hanging around there, but at the moment it's easy to access, but I haven't needed it. As I said, obviously with the engine I'm being careful, but also with the tyres, I am on semi-slicks at the moment as my original wheels are getting powder coated, and I'll get some normal tyres and that. Because the whole plan was to get this car done for summer, I didn't actually plan on having winter tyres because I never planned on using it in the winter. So for now, steady driving, no crazy things at all. But I'm still also trying to understand the car and make sure it's all happy. Because the first drive to the MOT was faultless, which actually blew me away. I really did not imagine that. With all the issues that I've had regarding getting the engine to start, I thought there must be issues elsewhere. Because at the end of the day, I've rebuilt every single component on this car. I've stripped everything down and I know exactly how everything all works. But I also know how it could break. So for me, that's quite a scary prospect. As in your mind, you're visualizing constantly all the components operating, and then you're thinking, did I tighten that bolt right? Did I sit the gasket right? Everything like that. So at the moment, I can't fully relax and just enjoy the car because I feel like everything noise, any feel that I get, any vibration, I will think, what is that? And I kind of try to diagnose it whilst driving. But that's like when I come back to the gauges, that's why they're super handy, just to make sure you can see that everything is running as it should. So hopefully this is sounding good. That was in the engine bay then, if you noticed. I'll go through that footage later and see if it's actually worth it. Probably not, because I've just got a little mic. I need to do some proper sound clips for this, but we'll wait until we get on the dyno for that. I think we need a bit more revs. But anyway, let's carry on and we'll head home. I've had a very fun little drive today. This is only 20 odd miles, but it clocks me over 100 miles, which is a big milestone. Still sunny out, still not got my sun visor installed, so the work prescribed glasses will suffice. This road is in the best condition, and as you can see, the car is pretty good. I feel like it's pretty similar to my E36, which is just on crap lowering springs, probably busted shocks anyway. The BCs so far, I'm happy with. We're getting a bit of rubbing on the passenger side rear, so I just need to adjust the camber in slightly. Once again, it is kind of just eyed up with the alignments. I'm not going to go crazy. Hopefully I can get that done very soon. But it's so addictive. What a noise. It's much more fun after second gear, I feel, at the moment. Because of the low RPM limit, it just reaches it so fast. First gear, obviously out of the question. I've got a 3.15 diff in this. I went with that because of the torquey engine. You wouldn't need anything shorter because the car just pulls. Oh, car, but you can just really start to hear it go up. That was a bit more throttle there, definitely not full throttle, but you can really start hearing it waking up. Oh, I'm so excited for the dyno day, but also absolutely scared of it. My friends have said it's a horrible experience because you're stood next to your car and it's trying to do as much as it can do. Obviously I'm not going to go for out and out power, I still want to drivability, but I think hearing this at 7,500 revs standing right next to it is going to be a pretty scary thing to see. When at the moment I'm still scared to bloody take it over whatever. Yeah, for me this is enough. Honestly, this is enough. It is so fun. It begins it. I can actually feel a smile coming, you know? Like I said, it's hard to enjoy it at the moment fully just because of everything, make sure it's all working. But honestly, I feel like I'm getting there. I think over 100 miles I'll be a lot more relaxed, which I'm pretty close to. Sure, we can enjoy another tunnel, bridge. Very antisocial. I do feel like a bit of a child going through my little town because it's loud and people obviously won't know what's in it, so they probably just think it's a big loud exhaust, which it isn't. I promise, it's not. As you can hear. The idle is sitting high at the moment, but that means, because I need to calibrate the ITBs, but the only thing with calibrating the ITBs is you need to idle the engine. To idle the engine, you need to bed it in. So it's a bit of a catch-22 here, because you kind of got to make sure, so at the moment it's just set to a high rev, and that'll kind of do for now. As it's not going to stall, but it sits at about probably 1,500 revs. So it's a bit weird when you're in a high gear, it kind of just pulls you along for a bit. It feels like cruise control, I guess. There we go, sat at 60 again. Like I said, there is some road noise. I have got a slight noise cancellation on the microphone. I am talking quite loudly. I feel like now with the interior you can actually have a conversation. Before it was just, it would hurt your ears by the time you get home. We've got another nice little day. We've got another one tomorrow. The main reason for coming out today was for the fuel log. So Guy Higgs, who's doing the tune at the moment, he's setting up. He's pretty much just asking me to get a fuel log of the car, take it for a little spin, get a fuel log, send it over to him, make some little tweaks. I go out again. Do I know what I'm feeling for? No, but he does. He can look at all the numbers and make sure that everything's happy. Obviously this isn't for power or anything, it's just to make sure it's happy, slightly drivable. When we get to the dyno, we'll go through that a lot more, which hopefully is before the end of the year. If all goes to plan, if this car stays happy as it is now, it's a 2.5 hour drive to Guy, so it's a pretty serious deal for me. This is probably the biggest drive I've done so far, and it's probably been on the road for about half an hour now, but it does just feel great. I feel like now, I've moaned about the steering, I've moaned about the throttle, because the throttle is super sensitive, but as you start to get used to the car, you understand its little quirks and features. Doug. You can you obviously adapt to suit. So now, you've just got to literally, with the throttle, it's just tiniest little breath of a toenail, and off it goes, which I've never had on a car. Is that correct? I hope so. If not, I could probably change the leverage, see if I can alter it slightly. But that's it, we're heading back home now. So I'll do a little summary when we get home. That'll do for now. See you in a minute. So we're back home. What can I say? Another faultless drive at the moment. Just clocked over 100 miles, which is a massive achievement for me. I'd say faultless driving, but I did have a coolant hose blow off just as I was pulling in the garage on my second drive. But that's been reset, resealed. Yeah, I think I didn't have it right over the bead, like the swage of the pipe, so it just popped off because it reached a bit of a high temperature, reached about 95, which coming into my town, because of where I live, there's a lot of speed bumps, a lot of traffic lights, there's a lot of idling, a lot of slow driving, so I think it just kind of creeps up a bit of temperature, but it hasn't gone over 95 yet, which is great. The fan kicks in nice and early, so at the moment that's good. I might find out later in life that it reaches a bit higher, but where do I kind of panic? 95 seems to me okay. Obviously it's higher than it probably should be. I don't really know. I think that the thermostat is 90 degrees, so if that's open at 90 degrees and the temperature is on one of the the pipes of the engine, not of the radiator, so it's hard to actually know what it's cooling down to. But yeah, still processing this feeling of being able to take the car out and just enjoy it. There's feels very strange. Yeah, there's probably a lot of those clips that I'm just quiet because I am just watching everything, make sure everything's happy, and just enjoying it, just figuring out the car and feeling it. And the engine is just unreal, absolutely unreal. I've been out in a few E30s with like an M52 swap and M30 swap, and yeah, they're fun, they're amazing, especially when you can really start revving them. But I haven't done that in a while, so I've got really like no reference of what a nice car feels. So I think what we've best to do is go out in some of my friends' E30s and just see how this feels in comparison to theirs, to make sure that I'm not missing anything obvious. One thing I do want to sort is the steering, so I want to get that aligned. But yeah, for now, let's put the car away. Let's get this video edited. I think we can start working on some other little bits. So like I said, there's still some interior bits to do. I want to get that wiring sorted. It's horrible to look at. You probably see it in one of the videos. But there we go. First impressions of driving the E30. What a weird thing to say, but it's finally there. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.